I walked in the door. This little bald-headed girl comes running up to me. "Mama," she says, jumps into my arms. And I was Mama from then on.
Make some mistakes along the way.
Look at this picture. Yeah, like selling my baby.
She's little, I tell her stories how she came from this town that had a castle. And Alex once said to me, "You know, Mom, sometimes I think that the whole story that you told me about adopting me from another land is just made up." You know, when you really think about it, like if someone told me a story like that, it would seem pretty fantastic. Alex suffers from really low self-esteem. She struggles in school. She doesn't feel good about herself. What the psychological basis behind it is, I don't know, but maybe if she goes back there and she realizes we haven't just concocted this bizarre story, I think that's going to make her feel a lot better about herself. This is the castle I told Alex about when she was a little girl. It's just 2 kilometers up the road from where she was born, in the Romanian village of Hunedoara. By the time Alex was 2, Romania had endured more than 26 years under a brutal dictator. Nicolae Ceausescu was building monuments to his own glory, while thousands of Romanian children were languishing in state orphanages. When Ceausescu was overthrown, images of these forgotten children were broadcast around the world. I knew we had to do something. A year later, my husband Al and I went to Romania and found Alexandra. She was 3 years old. 8 years later, Al and I are going back to Romania. We're bringing Alex and Ava, our second oldest daughter. We're hoping to meet Alex's birth parents and to fill in the missing images of her past. We don't know exactly what will make Alex feel whole. We hope that giving her the chance to see where she came from will make her feel a sense of worth. And knowing what she's been through may help us help her. So many years after we adopted Alex, Romania still seems so bleak. Although Alex rarely expresses her feelings, I know that she's been looking forward to coming here for months. But Al and I are apprehensive. Alex's nose was broken sometime in those first 3 years. I've always been haunted by the fear that she was abused.
$13 for all that. Big box of bananas, all those chocolates, $13.50. That's quite cheap.
Alex's birth parents live in the western part of Romania. The social worker has told them that we are here and is trying to arrange a reunion. Driving there will give us time to prepare Alex to meet them and to visit the orphanages she might have lived in as a little girl. Our first visit is to the baby orphanage in Sibiu. Outside, there are children begging.
Nu. Trebuie mie 250. Trebuie să poți mi ce nu jocu. O ciocolată. O ciocolată de la fata asta.
chocolate.
Da.
Yeah, we're good chocolate.
Da, mă dă ciocolată. Ia, mă.
Sure.
Da, la bun.
Here, 1 minute.
Bolana.
Idziu de la mie luvină.
Bolana.
Those two little children, they are not in the orphanage. Is that correct?
No,
Yeah.
it's a
Those two.
bigger family,
Uh-huh.
and I know so they are alcoholic and they send the children.
Here to collect money.
Yes, the parents don't work. The children work.
We meet Dr. Roman, a psychologist for the orphanage. She's going to show us inside. When we were in Romania before, we would not have been allowed in this orphanage. The worst of them were guarded like prisons for children. These children are Ceausescu's legacy, his state-sponsored campaign to make Romania great by doubling its population of children in one generation. We learn that Ceausescu forced his people to bear children they couldn't care for. Tens of thousands of children were abandoned to state-run orphanages, like the one Angela Gerlich worked in.
Am început să lucrez la leagănul de copii în
I started working in the orphanage in September 1986.
Saltelele din dormitoarele copiilor.
The children's mattresses were changed only every 5 to 10 years,
Și între 5 și 10 ani.
and the children up to the age of 3, because they were still young, would defecate in their beds.
Și pentru că erau umede, cu timpul, cu trecerea anilor au început.
Because the mattresses were wet, in time they became infested with worms.
În paturile lor.
The children lying in their beds would catch the worms and eat them.
Nu era un lucru plăcut.
It wasn't
nici la
something
privit,
pleasant to see.
You kind of imagine or project what it would be like for a child you know to be there, and it's unbearable. That's one thing about Alexandra, like I've never been able to make myself think about what her life was like before we got her. You know, I've never, been able to think back of her as a baby, you know, laying in a hospital or laying in an orphanage. Romania has made some big improvements since we adopted Alex. The orphanages we see today look more like daycare centers back home. Dr. Gianu, the new director of the orphanage in Mediaș, tells us about the changes.
Now, after 89, when a lot of people come into Romania to help the orphanages, the situation will change in a very short period. Maybe in 1 year, most of the orphanages were changed.
But even today, we can see there isn't enough staff to attend to the children's emotional needs. I wonder how much love Alex received in her first 3 years.
we are not so many here, and maybe 2 or 3 persons are working with 20 children. The first pathology you can observe when you arrive into an institution, you will see all the children will be on you asking for mama, for mother. It's a problem of behavior. It's not normal.
Alex, she's being diagnosed with attention deficit disorder with hyperactivity. She's had a lot of strikes against her at a very young age. You know, not even having the bonding, like when they talk about infants having to be held minutes after they're born. She was 3.5, but we kind of treated her like a baby. She needed some attention.
The child is something so
Delicate.
delicate, and
You cannot change the past. The problem now is what we have to deal with. And right now we use Redland. I don't know if it's that
how
is
old
the.
is she now?
She's 11, going on 12.
It's a young lady.
It's been a while since you held me.
You were happy like that, and you were energetic like that, that's for sure. You would have been running around like this, and you would have been climbing the fence. You would have been going, mama, 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 for sure.
Penny started something there. Yeah, here you go.
To understand Alex, to know that 3 years of her that's missing. And up till now, it's been too painful to think about, you know, and what I saw here is good, probably, compared to what she was in, which is hard. I'm very nervous about meeting her mother. I'm nervous that I'm going to hear something that's going to hurt Alexandra. I don't know if I want to know answers or not. The city of Brașov is in the central part of Romania, 250 kilometers from Hunedoara, where Alex was born. Here we meet many more orphans from the villages in the surrounding hills.
Kids like us, we dream a lot, even with open eyes, you know. We used to stay on the beds and talk about stuff, you know, like having parents that they would buy you something like toys, like a bike, like all of that, you know.
Like Alex, Florin and Romika were separated from their parents before they were 3. They've been in and out of orphanages ever since. Now they're close as brothers.
You'd make friends over there, and then that place would become your family. You'd forget about your mom, your brothers, your dad, your relatives, you know. We were like a family.
The social worker tells us that over 20 children in Romania are abandoned to orphanages every day. In Sector 3, the pain of separation begins here every Wednesday morning. We'd never think to bring Alex to see this place, but we worry about whether she had to endure something like this herself. Today, a committee convenes to review the case of Nikolai. In the past, there were no committees or even social workers. No one to soothe the child's tears.
Păi că dacă ei o băgăm la arcă, nu până...
This is the case of Nikolai, age 4. The mother is a 31-year-old unskilled worker. The father is 29 years old with 8 years of school and is unemployed. The problem is not that he can't find a job, he's not motivated.
The committee cannot find a reason to deny the parent's request. Like all the children before him, Nikolai is about to suffer the separation that will mark him for the rest of his life.
I was, let's say, 2 years old. She dubbed me in the... It wasn't a big orphanage, just for orphan kids, small kids, you know, about 2 years old.
Look how nice the children are, and they'll play with you.
You are by your mom over there like a, you know, like a cub by his mother. And certainly, I mean, she puts you in there, she talks with some guys, you don't know what's all about, you know, because you are too small. And you found out that guy's gonna take you in some room and she's gonna leave, you know. And then you're gonna look for her. Where's my mom, you know? So you're not gonna find her and realize that you are dumped over there.
You told me you liked it here. No? Stay here with Mummy. There are big dogs outside. Oh, don't cry.
I should have no feelings, but I feel revolted. Revolted against those parents who don't shed a tear. It seems they don't care what the child feels. I've been taught not to judge, but I can't help it. It's a human reaction.
You're sleepy. Little boy will sleep now. Your eyelids are heavy. When you wake up, we will eat an egg and some cake. Let's go to sleep. Mommy will stay with you. I won't leave.
To tell you honestly, I don't like my mom too much, you know. I mean, sometimes I kind of hate her, you know. I don't have feelings for her. Sometimes I kind of miss her, you know.
Those children, you know, are the age of my own children back home. And so I was picturing them there. It's in a classroom where you never go home. We learned that there are still over 100,000 children abandoned in orphanages today, about the same number there were under Ceausescu's rule. The poorest parents often rely on the orphanage as a temporary place to provide for their children. Some have the hope of getting back on their feet and living together again as a family. When Sandra's mother placed her in an orphanage at the age of 5, she promised to remain a part of her child's life. She's kept her promise. Sandra is 13 now, a year older than Alex.
I love my mother. At the beginning, I used to cry for my mother when I had to leave her. Then I grew out of it, all these tears. I'll grow up, and I won't cry anymore. My mother sells newspapers. She makes $30 a week. She can't possibly support a family. If my mother had a home, I could live with her.
Sandra visits her mother twice a month in her mother's one-room basement apartment. The visits are precious for them both.
I was blamed that I didn't fight with all my heart. But I didn't see any other possibility. She had no other relatives, and I don't believe that what I did was wrong. I prefer to know she's at the orphanage instead of becoming a street kid or a beggar, or worse, let's speak frankly, a future prostitute. Maybe one day we'll all be together. I hope so, because we don't have anything else to hope for.
While we wait anxiously to meet Alex's birth parents, we have the opportunity to visit Sandra's orphanage for girls. Like Alex, many of these girls dream about meeting their birth parents.
My dream was to meet my parents, and it finally came true a few months ago. But now I don't have my dream anymore.
So you met your parents. Were you disappointed?
After 12 years, they came to see me. I have 2 sisters. One of them lives in an orphanage too, and the other lives at home. When I asked my parents why my sister and I were sent to an orphanage and my other sister was not, they said they didn't know why. Why did they choose us to send to the orphanage?
So many children in Romania have never known a parent's love. So many children's dreams have been shattered. I hope we've made the right decision to bring Alex here. Early in the morning, Al goes to pick up Madame Moraru, the social worker who helped us with Alex's adoption 8 years ago. She's going to arrange the reunion with Alex's birth family. While we've got a few minutes, look through that and find a picture to give your mom.
I know which
look
one.
in particular cute.
Oh, here's a little face.
That one's cute, yeah.
But maybe one's smiling.
One's smiling. You're nervous. I'm terrified.
That's the girl?
That is the social worker, I think, who knew
Did she
you.
know me?
Yeah.
Let's see if she recognizes me.
Let's see if she recognizes you.
Sandy, come here. Meet Madame Marrero.
You go.
Alexandra. And my wife Sandy. Madame Marrero. And guess what? Alexandra has 5 in the family. There's 4 girls and 1 boy.
No.
Yeah, I just found that out. And they're the oldest. And as they left, when we adopted Alexandra, one sister went to Toulouse in France, and one is in Switzerland. And
Set of twins in Switzerland.
Twins, Alexandra.
Twin sisters in
twin sisters you have.
So Dad has to take you to Switzerland.
We gotta go to Switzerland now. I don't know. I gotta go skiing in the Alps. I don't know if I can take that.
No. Alex, I'm still your favorite sister, right?
I guess she has to see the rest first, Ava.
Madame Marrero promises to arrange the meeting within a few days. Everywhere we travel, we see stray dogs in the streets. Families abandon their pets first when they can't afford to feed them. The children are the next to go. Eventually, they too become part of the streets. Remember what you said to me? Remember you said, Mom, could that have been me out on the street? Some of the kids in the orphanages, like say around your age, what they would do is they'd leave the orphanage and they'd just live out on the street. And you know those kind of grates that are in the sidewalk? Steam comes up from them, and that's how they keep warm, as they sleep on those grates. They beg for money.
You don't want to be 18 in orphanage. You just want to be 16, 17. That's it. You turn 18, you know it's time for you to go. And you start to realize about 17 and a half that, hey, this is not my home anymore, you know? It's not going to be my family. You don't have no money, no chance in life, you know? It's like, go on the streets. If you go on the streets, you don't end up too well.
We see many kids from the orphanage who have ended up in the streets. This is the final abandonment.
It's a hard life. I don't know if anybody else knows because they've never lived in a train station. They don't know what it's like not to eat, what it's like to be cold. It's really, really hard.
Romika is a runaway from the orphanages. He lived there through the Ceausescu years and was beaten regularly by the older orphans for his food rations. Now that he's older, he's just trying to get off the streets.
I lived in a train station for 5 years in a row, and I suffered from cold every winter. During the day, you look for food, and at nightfall, you go to sleep in the bushes or on the grass. And you wait for the next day to come so you can go look for something to eat. I would have been very happy if I had a family. Or a mother. Even though I know she wouldn't be my real mother, I would have liked to have her by my side and to call her Mama.
We celebrate Alex's 12th birthday in Brasov. not far from the village where she was born.
Oh, I've heard that.
12 years old.
La mulți ani? You understand that? Happy birthday in Romanian?
In the afternoon, we stopped to meet Claudio Petrosorianu, the director of Forget Me Not, a group trying to help street kids stay off the street.
Most of our children come directly from the streets around the train station. Some just ran away from orphanages because of abuses of all kinds, not feeling safe, and they sort of found refuge on the streets. And I mean, you would just not believe the things these children have gone through. La Camera, she's 14 years old. Their parents were trying to sort of sell her to, I don't know, somebody that was, getting fake passports to send her off to Poland. We had to take her. Prostitution wasn't a future that, we wanted her to be part of, so...
Did she feel abandoned?
Ce părere ai avut despre ea?
Tu nu mă iubești.
I felt at that moment that she doesn't love me. I mean, all along, she thought somebody really loves her, and came a point in her life when she realized, well, it's not what I thought.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Sandra.
Happy birthday, dear Sandra. Happy birthday to you.
Și la mulți ani pe românește.
All through Romania, we meet children with no parents to really love them. We're amazed how much love these children can still give. On our 6th day in Romania, Madame Moreru calls to say she has set up the meeting with Alex's birth family. They're expecting us today. The moment we've been waiting for is finally here. Today is a really important day for you. You know that? I think it's more important. It's hard for you to understand right now because you're only 12. But someday when you look back at this will be as important as when you get married or when you have your baby or things like that. It's going to be that important to you, okay? So today when Mama, when Tata, when this other woman who we're not really sure knows you, they're going to want to hug you and they're going to want to kiss you, okay? And I want you to let them do that, all right? Even though they're going to be strangers to you, okay? When you have a baby growing inside you, and when that baby comes out, you know it's painful and everything. The minute you see the baby, you forget the pain. You see this baby that's all red and wrinkled and everything, but you love it right away. And that's what your mama would have felt for you, okay? But then you were separated from your mother, and things happened between Mama and Tata, right? Adult things, we don't know what it was, but they weren't together. We might find out today that something happened to you that you have to forgive somebody for, okay? And you have to try to do that. If you don't like what you're seeing or hearing, I'll be right there, okay? Are you more excited to see your brother or your Tata or your mama? Who are you most excited to see? Yeah, really.
You haven't learned to speak Romanian yet?
It says brother? No?
I'm the husband of Alexandra's mother.
English.
Yes, English.
Dolce, nimic? Dolce. Dolce, Sprache.
German?
Bisschen.
Bisschen Deutsch. Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Ja.
Oh, gut. Ich verstehe besser, denn ich bin Sailor.
Langsam sprechen.
Okay.
Ich verstehe alles.
Versteht alles, ja?
Ja.
Gut, ich verstehe alles auch, aber ich kann nicht so gut sprechen, Sie Deutsch.
Das
Meine Frau.
keine Problem. Sie ist seine Frau.
Das ist meine Frau, ja.
Ja.
Das ist Eva, our ältest, Alexander ist der älteste und der Nick.
Ah, ja.
Ja.
Da. Ah, ja.
Ja. Die Frau ist nicht heim?
Meine Frau?
Ja.
Sie ist meine Frau.
Oh.
Mother,
Mama. That's Alexander's mama.
Ja.
Come.
Verstehst?
Ja.
Cine s-a dus după copil tu? Ca, suntem și ne năcărăm, suntem așa.
We live in this house because we don't have another place. We're very poor. We're poor. And we have problems too. Maybe they can help us get a new house. Because we pay rent here and the rent is very high. We have no heating and the winter's coming.
They don't have any heat in this.
When the girl is older and wants to come visit us, we'll have a permanent place. Now we move from one place to another.
E bunica. Hai cu o mamă.
Tell her that these are her grandparents, Risa's parents.
Hai, uite, haide. Bunica. This is grandma here. This is grandma.
Și asta e sora? Nu, aia mică. Aia altă e soră bună. Asta e Sandra. Da.
Asta e fata.
I'm very happy, and I thank you for coming. I thought I would die before seeing her again. I thank them from my heart because I see that she's well taken care of, and she has a good home.
Andrew,
Come in. This is your sister.
Alexandra.
Alexandra, I thought I'd die and never see you again.
Nu mai plânge acum, nu. Hai aici, hai la mama, hai la mama, hai.
Că plânge și fratele după aia.
Da.
Grandma, sit hold her.
Gata. Dă-mi loc mai încoace, așa. Da.
We spend all afternoon with Alex's birth family, looking at photos and talking about her past. After all our worries, we find out that Alex was never beaten. She broke her nose when she fell off a chair playing with her brother Remus. Her grandparents took care of her, while her birth mom worked all day.
They are all your cousins, all three.
Și aia mică, uite așa. Uite-ți pata. Hai, da, super.
Alex knows now where she came from, and she can fill in the images of her past. And Al and I know what we need to guide her along the way. You'll have to see what we've accomplished through all this pain and hope, even if it takes Alex years to fully understand. Alex doesn't speak much about her feelings, but she told me one afternoon was enough, and that now she's ready for the journey home.